Good morning. Hi, Leah. How are you? Getting everything set up here. Good morning. All right, let's share this out. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. All three of you. Just sending this out. Good morning. Hello, hello. Good morning, Maine, or in Maine, I guess I should say. Good morning. Hello, hello. Hi, Lucas. I see you over there in the Instagram. How's everybody doing this morning? Let's tap the screen and share it out to your friends because we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. My name is Lorenda Carr. If you're new here, if you're new, raise your hand. If you're new, raise your hand. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me where you're from. Or if you just saw me on the FYP, whatever. How'd you find me? Hello, hello. Evelyn is new. Very cool. I'm great, Maria. I've got a crown on. Yes, Lucas, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week too. So next week, Lucas and I are going to go live. He used to be my next door neighbor and he moved to Switzerland and he's over in the Instagram. So anyway, this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to get some more people in the room. We're going to be doing some readings today. But we're also going to be talking about like spirit stories and cool stuff like that. Because I had some really interesting things happen a couple weeks ago. Good morning, Roxanne. Good to see you. So I had a really cool story to tell from a psychic party I did, and I'm super excited. If you didn't see the video, good morning, Kelly. I see you. How are you? But I had like a really cool thing happen like last week. It was pretty awesome. So I wanted to share it. But yeah, I want to talk about spirit stories. Like, how many of you have had like just really interesting, weird things happen that you can't even really explain it? You're just like, yeah, that was something definitely spirit related, supernatural, paranormal, whatever it is that you want to call it. Raise your hand, show of hands. How many of you had like that, just those weird things happen? Rob, good morning. Make sure all 10 of you follow good Intuitive Intention. He's got some really cool decks, some Oracle deck, Tarot deck. I use them often, actually. Actually, I might pull those out today and use them here a little bit. We're going to be doing some readings today. I want to talk about, but let's get some people in here. Let's get the screen tapping. Let's share the live. Trying to get some traction here. I don't go live other than really very often. Just pretty much this one time a week. I did go live earlier this week though. So good morning, Paula. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. So yeah, we might pull some cards. So anyway, if you're new here, my name's Lorenda. I'm a psychic medium. And I've also created something called this Dancing Spirit Oracle deck. There's a few of you in here that own my deck already. La la la. So the Dancing Spirit Oracle deck. And actually I have a special right now where you get 2 free gifts with the purchase of the Dancing Spirit. Yes, I know, Lucas. I already said that. I said that a little bit ago, that I was going to be going live, that you and I are going live next week. And good morning, Jen, Boss Sauce. Make sure you guys follow her. She does amazing mediums. She's mediumship readings and cards and stuff. So go check her out. And there's Alyssa Psychic Medium. Hey, friend. Make sure you say hello, hello. Make sure you guys are following Alyssa Psychic Medium. Girl, I saw your shout out about wanting advanced mediumship class. Message me, because I have a thing going. And then also, I know you mentioned Eileen Davies. I've taken a trance class with her, and that was phenomenal. So yeah, message me. I'm also always looking for ways to up my game and keep developing. That's really important for you guys to understand that, good ethical mediums that are want to grow. We want to expand. We want to understand. And we're going to keep taking classes. We're going to keep, we might have, like, I've got my mentor, Reverend Glenda, from Camp Chesterfield, who's nowhere to be found on social media. She just doesn't do social media at all. And she's a fantastic meeting. See, there you go, Alyssa. Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I am glad to have my twice a month class with my mentor and my classmates, and then I teach classes too. So I don't know, Hasten, would you like fries with that? I'm not a drive-through McDonald's. Don't come in here and place your order, please. It doesn't take, but it's been 6 minutes. I think that was a record. That may have been a record. That was the fastest McDonald's order I think I've ever gotten. So anyway, make sure you guys are following my friends in here. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning. That's cool, Sabrina. Okay, Lucas, listen. Just stop that. We're not doing cards yet. No fries? I know, right? You want fries with that? Supersize that. Supersize me. You want a shake. That's about all the shake you're going to get from me. Also, what are you guys drinking? What are you guys sipping on? This is Spirit, Signs, and Sips. We talk about spirits. We talk about signs. We talk about we have a little sip in the morning. As you know, I do not drink coffee, or you may not know that. So I drink my little Celsius, get my little caffeine boost. We're doing tropical vibe today. This crown doesn't stay on. I need to get some bobby pins. Oh, wait. Yeah, it does. It's like it attached to me. So I wanted to tell this really cool story about what happened at, you know what? I don't know, Lucas. We'll see. Lucas my old neighbor Lucas is coming to visit me from Switzerland next week. We're having a hangout time. We're going to do fun, cool things. And it's going to be his 18th birthday. So he's very excited. Off to the gym. Powerlifting too. Yeah, you won't see me doing that. It was meant to be mine, right, Stephanie? It just sits right nicely on my head. So anyway, quit. You guys are derailing me. Also, notice the squirrel is not in her place right now. The squirrel has taken her rightful place in the tree in true Christmas vacation fashion. That's actually why my mom got me the squirrel to begin with, but the rest of the year she lives down here. Hi, good morning, Justice. How are you? So lost my train of thought. I don't have my squirrel down here to remind me. I wanted to tell this really cool story about something that happened during thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate you. Thank you. So I wanted to tell you guys a story that happened when I was doing some readings at an event a couple weeks ago. And so I haven't seen you all since this happened. I've got an itch on my face. I was doing a reading. I had been set up in someone. It was a home party. One of my good friends hosted that. And so they set me up in a bedroom to do private readings after I did like a little class, a little group reading. Those are always super fun to do, by the way. I love doing like group readings and group demonstration, platform mediumship. And then also just talking about spirit guides. I taught them how to connect to their spirit guides and how to utilize that, because you don't have to be a practicing medium to utilize your team. We all come in with spirit guides, right? So wouldn't it be great if we could all us muggles could just learn how to utilize our spirit team to live our best life, right? So did that. And then they set me up in this room. And so I can meet with people that signed up one-on-one for like 10 or 20 minute readings. Okay. So one of the clients comes up and she sits down and she's like right across from me like this. Okay. And we connect to her loved one right away, felt that loved one come in right away. And we had tears, and she says, Well, wait, okay, how does this work? Is she like here? And how many of you have always wondered that? How many of you wondered that? Like, if you've never had an actual reading with a medium, have you ever wondered like how we get that information or how we know who's here? Do we see them? Do we feel them? I mean, raise your hand, show of hands if you've ever wondered that. Yeah, I mean, it's a thing, right? I didn't even know I could do mediumship. To be honest, like, I thought mediumship meant I had to actually see with my own eyes spirits. I really thought that for the longest time, not knowing that, no, it comes in different ways. Um, and so she was asking, "Well, is she here? Is she here? Like, where is she?" And so I kind of explained to her how that worked. Um, but when I was explaining, I had been sitting in a chair, kind of leaning forward and engaging because she was very upset at the loss of this person. It was a very recent loss, actually. She goes, "Well, is she like here?" And I'm like, "Well," and so I sit back and my hair's in a ponytail, right? My hair's in a ponytail at the time. I sit back and, "Oh, hey, Heather." I'm telling that story where I was like, "Oh, yeah, we need to do spirit stories today." And so my hair was in a ponytail and it was, when I leaned back, I was laying on it. So I pulled it and I was sitting in a chair, just a little bit kind of high backed, and I pulled my hair around like this, and all of a sudden, like one of those stretchy beaded bracelets just, or all of a sudden, is on my wrist. It's already on. It's just on my wrist. I had no idea that they were there. I'm like, I heard it, I felt it, and then my person goes, "That was not there a second ago. Oh my God, where'd that come from?" And I'm like, I don't know. It is not mine." I was like, can you imagine, like, just all of a sudden, you're just minding your business, you move your hair, and all of a sudden, a full-on bracelet's on your wrist? I don't know, kinda freaky. I mean, I deal with a lot of things. Weird things happen, but that was bizarre. That was bizarre. And then I take it off and I look at it, and the owner of the house had, just gone to the Eras tour in Indianapolis, and before this Swiftie concerts, they'll do, like, make bracelets, so she and her friends did, like, a bracelet making party, and I turned around because I so this thing pops onto my wrist, I turn around, and there's another one sitting on the back of the chair. I'm like, "Okay," so I pull it out, so there were 2 bracelets total. I'm like, "Okay, well, that makes sense that, like, I know that they went to the concert. I know that these bracelets probably existed. That's fine." But I said, "But I wonder what the deal is with this bracelet. If there's 2, why did this one come onto my wrist?" So I pull it off and I look at it, and um, there were 2 words on there, but they were separated. I really wish I need to have my friend take a picture of it. So when I tell this story, you'll see why. But the daughter had made it with a bracelet for her dad, and who loves Coors Light, or like drinks a lot of Coors Light. And so it said Coors on it, and then it had a couple spaces between, and then the other word said here. She had just said, my client had just said, "Well, where is she? Is she like here? Is she somewhere else? Like, how are you getting this information?" And that's when I sat back. Like, it was all within like the same 1 minute time frame. And I did that, and the bracelet jumped on my wrist, and it said, literally, when I looked at it, it said here. Like, how cool is that? And I had a witness. It wasn't like I just kind of happened and I couldn't tell there was nobody there. It happened in real time, and it was so needed because this person, it was her mom that had passed, and it was very unexpected, and she had never had a reading. Right, exactly, of course, here. Oh my gosh, I get it. Here, of course. Here, of course. What? Rob! Good insight. Good insight. Here, course. Here, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Oh my goodness. Because what a weird thing for a kid to make. But this also tells me what else does this tell us? This tells us spirit knows that a situation's coming. This was very much divine, very orchestrated, in my opinion, because think about all the moving parts that had to happen for that to do that. I had to make the choice to put my hair in a ponytail so I could move it. Right? Same, Rob. Same. Like I got goosebumps going on over here. That's so cool. I did not even think of that. And I'm good at that stuff. Man, this is why we get along. Yeah, we think our way through things. So yeah, here, of course. Here, of course. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell my friend about this. So that story was one of my favorite spirit stories. And and I've had a number of other things happen during readings like that, where you're asking for confirmation, or the person sitting in front of you asks a question for you to ask them. But what happens is they manipulate the environment in that moment, or they'll do something in the environment that moment that will bring forward a message that will answer that question, right? So there was another time where I was doing public readings. Yes, I was going to talk about that. That's on my list, Heather. And if you're going to stick around, I know you've probably got some good stories. If you've got a good one, if you have time, I might pop you into the box and tell one of your stories if you want to. So any of my medium friends in here, if you guys, or anybody really, if you've got stories that you want to share, that's what today is all about. We're sharing stories. We're talking about things like that. Okay. Well, just give me a few minutes. Let me get through this story and then we'll pop you in. So, get yourself fancied up if you want to, whatever you need to do. I'm kidding. Come as you are. Don't have a camera. I don't care. But yeah, the Jamie McIntyre, which ultimately I ended up having him. Oh, by the way, are you guys all following him? Are you guys all following his story? Like, you need to follow him, not just on TikTok, but like Instagram also. He posts a lot on Instagram. I'm telling you, he had just released the song not 2 weeks before I saw him in Galway. I was in Galway for 24 hours. I saw him and I could not bring myself to leave that pub. I'm like, this guy's going to be famous. He's going to make it. He's going to be big. And all of a sudden, all of his stuff starts, like his name, lyrics from his music was coming in as references in readings. And I'm like, this is nuts. And so I would tag him. I'd post the story, Spirit Story Time, and I would tag him, and he'd respond because he hadn't hit big yet. Now he's been a musician, and he says he was like one of the very first people in Ireland to ever go on TikTok and like do music on TikTok. So he's been kind of ground level, but that's not been his main platform. Well, anyway, I started following him and his music, his name, like even when I was in Portland doing live readings, there was a reference, and also the reference to the Tiffany stuff. Like Spirit told me to wear Tiffany today. So I'm super curious to know who's getting this reading today, by the way. He came in, like the references come in, and it's just so crazy. Oh, I see Kellen just popped in. Girl, you literally were on my mind last night, and I almost texted you, but it was like midnight, so I didn't. Text me. I have my pictures. We need to get rolling on that caricature thing. That was a sidebar. How you like that? So thank you, Coco. I actually reached out to him. I was like, hey, before you get too big and famous, would you come on my show? Like, and now he's being invited all over Europe right now. He's like traveling everywhere, and he's blowing up. And like he's got like 2 million views on his Spotify for Over Galway Town. And like, he's just been, hey, Salty, make sure you guys are following Salty Witch. She's an early morning reader too. Well, this is early for me, but she's super early. I wake up in the morning, she's up and looking good too. Lucas, we're talking about Jamie McIntyre, the musician that came on and sings Over Galway Town. So make sure you guys are following him and watching his journey. I'm going to give myself credit for bringing him to the States. It's not about me, but I do have a crown on right now. So I feel like I can say whatever I want and it'll be true. I don't know. What do you think? You think that's true? If you wear a crown, I feel like it tracks. Anyway, so then, but music is a huge. Hi, Lorna. How are you? And hey, Heather, whenever you're ready to pop in, you can do a guest request. So the other story, I have a million stories. Another one of my stories is I was doing readings at the Peace Water Winery in Carmel, Indiana, and so there was two sisters that had lost their sister. Now at this point, I didn't know it was that's not true. I did know. I knew it was her sister. I they said something like, does she know? I forget what their question was. All of a sudden, now there was a big event going on. And so there was music playing overhead. There was a lot of people there, but the music was playing overhead, but it was really very much, oh, hey, Reggie, make sure you guys are following Reggie also. So the music is playing, but it's in the background, very low. Thank you, Angel. And all of a sudden, the music starts blaring. It's just blaring super loud. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, that's so random and so weird. And then the ladies in front of me are like listening because I said, oh, well, this might be a sign, listen to the words. And all of a sudden they start crying and smiling and laughing all at once because whatever they said in the lyrics, now I can't remember, it's been a while. Whatever they said in the lyrics was how their sister died. Yeah. Like that's the kind of stuff you can't just make up. And the fact that that music just started blaring at that moment, right when they asked. So these are things that this is one thing too. When, yes, I'm a medium and yes, I bring in messages, but it's stuff like that. That's the stuff that I cannot make up. That's the stuff that I can't be like, yeah, I totally did that. I made that happen. I'd like to think I could. My crown is magical and all, but thank you, Sarah Marie. But like, that's the kind of stuff you can't make up. You just can't. Like that song with that particular way. I know the signs are very real, Reggie. They really are. And you missed me telling my story about me moving my hair and all of a sudden a bracelet literally jumps onto mine. Were you in here for that? The bracelet jumps in on my wrist. That was nuts. And then Rob figured it out. Were you? Oh, okay. So that bracelet said here, but it said Coors first, like Coors Light, like the beer. It said Coors because the daughter had made it for her dad who drinks Coors. And then it said Coors. And then it said here. And Rob is the one that was like, course, here. I'm, of course, like as in, of course, I'm here. Hadn't even thought of that. Rob's a genius. I feel like, Reggie, you might have thought of that too. I feel like that might have been right in your wheelhouse of duh. Yes, yeah, Lucas, you're right. I can tell your dad about that. He'll think that's a funny story. So it's stuff like that when I'm doing messages. And there was another time, oh my gosh, I was doing a reading and I was doing a reading. Oh, I see you popping in, Heather. If you got your story ready, just hit guest request. So what we're doing today, by the way, before I move on to my next story, somebody remind me, I'm going to be talking about the computer that was making noises because I'm going to 100% forget potentially in a second. Oh, also, okay, hang on, Allison, because I may bring you, if you want to hang tight, I might bring you up to tell your story too. Because that's what today is all about. Telling stories, sharing the stories about spirit, that it's not about the medium necessarily. It's about the external things that are happening, the cool things that are happening. So I bring Heather in. By the way, this was her idea. This was Heather's idea. to do this. She was like, you should do a whole live on this. Good morning, my friend.
Morning. Let me put a filter on. I look yucky.
Oh, stop it. You look fantastic.
No, I look better. I haven't been to sleep yet. I don't know how good the signal's going to be here because I'm at my mom's. But it's funny because your story about Jamie McIntyre and the song, which now you'll have to tell after this story, I saw the morning before a session I was getting ready to do. And I turned on music while I'm getting ready. And Hallelujah came on, but normally it's Josh Groban. And then another song came on by Josh Groban, but it was two sisters singing it. And I thought, that's interesting. So I looked down, and it's Lucy and Mary Thompson. But Mary Thompson stuck out to me, not Lucy.
Okay.
So I go and sit down to do the reading, and I could feel this sister energy come in. And then it kept taking me back to that song and then taking me to your video. And I was like, I got to talk about the song. So I said, I watched a duet between two sisters. It's a Josh Groban song, but it was by Mary Thompson. She was there to connect with her sister, Mary Thompson. The last concert they went to was Josh Groban. And I'm like, frickin' Lorenda. So
I love that.
I thought that was really cool. But that's one of my favorites. The second one is, there's a few videos you've done, though, where I see it and then something comes of it. I think I've made some comments on them, but the other one that sticks out is, you know how we always say we don't bombard people with messages from spirit, even if we sense it or they come in, it's like, nope, we don't do that in public.
We don't do that. Right.
So I went to the dentist and I walked in and I saw this man, and right when I seen him, I felt his wife. And I was like, I don't bombard with, and as I'm saying to spirit, I don't bombard. If you want me to say something, you got to somehow get him to stand up and come talk to me and ask me what I do for a living, and then ask me to do it. Before I could even think the thought, the receptionist said, now, aren't you the medium? And he stands up and says, oh my God, I lost my wife. And I was like, you got to be crap.
I love that, though. That's like when you're like, listen, spirit, you better be opening the door. And they're like, why didn't you say so?
Yeah. Well,
here, let me get that. Let me get the double doors.
Yeah. Here's your sign. It happened to me at a grocery store, too. So I tell people, you don't have to bombard.
No.
They will figure it out for you. You just let them know. And they do it faster than you can even think the conversation through.
Yeah. And there have been times where I've been out and people have actually been like, wait, aren't you Lorenda? Like, I've actually been recognized. It's kind of weird. And they've said, and I've picked up on spirit. And if they ask, or if I pick up something, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, you just, thanks for following, but sometimes I will get a spirit and I'll be like, is your mom around? Like, is that who you're missing? Because I feel like a mom energy is around you. I won't go deep into a reading, but like, be like, just, they're around. They're definitely around. They're always around, and they're going to show you signs.
Yeah.
So, but I love that. I'm so glad you shared that. And actually, if you guys in the chat, somebody asked, Lorna asked, if you guys want to come into the box and tell your story, hit guest request, and I'll start pulling you guys up. Because I would love to hear your, what I guess I call them external spirit stories, things that just happen like that. That's so funny. And as mediums, I feel like, Heather, you and I probably recognize them easier when we see them.
Yeah.
Like when it happens. And so we're a little more attuned to it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to empower people. And I know you do too. Like, I'm trying to empower people to see this stuff on their own, that it really does happen. If a song, if you get the music references, like the Jamie McIntyre thing, like I do too. Like I'll know when a certain person of a certain age comes in because I'll hear Hotel California.
Yeah. I get jingles. So, today I did one and I saw a bucket and then I heard there's a hole in my bucket, dear Henry. The grandpa's name was Henry.
Okay.
Charles in Charge, that song.
Oh my gosh.
I'm showing my age, but I heard that and the kid's name was Charles. Hi, Lorna. But I love that you're doing this because I tell people in chat too, you guys are having these experiences, but you're thinking they're coincidences or synchronicity. And I'm like, they're not. Like,
They're not.
when you start watching their journaling, you're going to be like, oh my God. Like, they will answer your questions almost like a conversation.
Like literally, like with the bracelet.
That one's wild.
Here, of course, here, like that's the story. That's my craziest story so far, I have to say. So Kim over in, I've got all the things going on. Kim over in YouTube, if you want to pop over to TikTok, I don't know how to bring people in on this side yet. I got to learn my multi-streaming thing and learning how to bring people into the box over in the other platforms. I'm learning.
My story's a little different if you want to hear it.
I do want to hear. And also, hello, this is my friend Lorna. Sometimes I'll pop onto her lives and we just shoot the shit. We're not talking about anything. Ruthie!
I'll you about your mediumship when you come into my life because I figure like everybody's going to come in and start
Yeah,
so,
I don't mind.
Your peace and your peace sometimes.
It's all good. I love that. I do have my group of friends. It's just like, this is Lorenda the human.
Right?
It is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. I get to be a human. Ruthie, so what we're doing, I'm going to have Lorna tell her story here in a second.
I'm going to hop down so somebody else can come up, but thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
It was funny that I just put that in the chat because that's what I was going to say to you. You should do this. And I told my husband, 30 seconds later, she was like, boom, and I knew you knew what I was saying. So that was funny.
Yeah. I did. But I was like, okay, this is a great idea. Why did I think of this? So that's why I gave you the shout out for it. Cause it was not my idea.
You're cute.
It was not my idea.
I'm going to listen to your story, Lorna.
All right. Thank you, Heather.
All
right. Lorna, tell me your story. We're talking spirit stories. If any of you in the chat, on any of the platforms, I am on TikTok and all the Facebook and Instagram stuff. If you guys want to share your story, let me know. I'd love to hear it. All right. Tell me, what's your spirit story?
Mine is kind of random because it's not specific to anyone, but it was specific to a feeling. So I had been really, really working very hard on sorting out, that it was really sitting deeply with me trying to get accessibility in a multi-million-dollar building. And nobody was fucking listening to me. And I was just going in there so friggin' miserable. So I'm on my scooter and I'm driving my way on the way. And I usually go one way. And I'm in my head and I'm driving. And all of a sudden, I did not take myself there. I did not.
Okay.
But I ended up in the graveyard. A way that I never go. I never go there. I ended up in this graveyard. And next thing you know, I'm driving up and down past these gravestones, and it's just, they talk to me. They sort at me right the hell out. It's like, sometimes you can just fight and do all the things. You're not listening. These people have lived their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They have done their best with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing the best with what you have. You have given the message. You have sent it over and over again. Now it's time to just let that go. And that all happened in that moment. And as I drove out of that cemetery, I was a whole different person. Just a whole different person. About a week later, they started coming up to me and saying the next piece of equipment we get is going to be accessibility equipment.
You can't make that up.
I was not driving I never drive to the cemetery. I never do that. I always go around it.
Yes.
It just sat deep with me because things started to change. They started getting more grab bars. And, it just meant a lot.
That is so cool.
So.
Wow. And the fact that you just kind of ended up over there and you're like, wait, how did I end up here? I don't go this way.
Exactly. It's like, what the hell?
Right. What the hell? Yeah.
Apparently, I was meant to be there because, sometimes you need to be sorted out and listen and sit in the moment, receive the messages.
Yes.
And reset yourself. Also. Right?
So true. What I tell people in my classes and just in general, like if you can't feel spirit, if you can't feel your loved ones, you've got to ask for your vibration to change. You've got to change your vibration because all it is you're just not listening to the right radio station.
And I think that's a lot of what was going on.
Yeah. So when you went into that space, you were in a different space, your vibration changed because honestly, when we go into, think about it. Oh, this is coming to me now. When you go into a cemetery, there's a reverence that comes with someone who comes into a cemetery like, oh, whoa, ooh, okay, respect. All right. And that changes your vibration immediately. So spirit's going to send you messages however you can receive them. So they automatically changed your vibration and you got all of that. That is so cool. And then all the things happened.
Yeah. So it was pretty awesome. So that was the story I wanted to tell. So I can talk down now.
Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming up. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Thank you for coming in. And thanks for letting me pop into your live yesterday too. That was really fun.
You're always welcome.
All right. Thank you, Lorna. See y'all. All right. Anybody else have stories? I want to hear this. We're talking spirit stories today. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear about them. I want to just send a guest request. I want to hear about the things that you normally wouldn't necessarily, that you just go, whoa, that was crazy. Hi, Lee. How are you? How are you? Good morning, Michelle. Yeah, you can't just do it. If you got stories, send a guest request. I'll let you guys come up and tell your stories. I can't do that on the other platforms, or I don't know if I can or not. I have no idea how to do it. Let's be real. I just don't know how to do it. That's all there is to it. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're telling spirit stories today. Good morning, Janelle. How are you?
Good morning, sweetheart. How are you doing? It's been forever.
I'm doing all right. Doing my thing. I know I'm just not. They are green. They're wicked green for Elphaba, Heather. Just so you know. Elphaba.
That's where I came up. Okay.
Okay, so I want to hear your story.
Okay, so there's always the story of scents. The smells that you smell. I was doing laundry one day. Ollie, this is my new cat, Oliver.
Oh, hi, Oliver.
Isn't he amazing?
Aw.
He's such a good boy. He's amazing. I was doing laundry one day, and in the hallway.
Kind of cool.
I've lived here it'll be 13 years next month. This was maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Doing laundry, just typical. I smell my childhood home.
Interesting.
And I smell that granola, peanut butter, and banana. That smell.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With cedar. It was what is that? Oh my goodness, the food pantry. The pantry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I'm just like, that is the only. It's such a unique smell, right? You would never. Great, now I'm hungry.
Right.
Sorry, Lee. But yeah, my dad came to mind like right away. And then his cologne too. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, Old Spice in my home. No, we don't wear Old Spice. But there was another story with my brother, and this had to be, I think, maybe I've told you, but my brother passed away in 2015. And after that, I went into a deep depression.
Right.
And I let things go. The bills, he was my best friend. And, just losing him, mm-hmm. I lost my mother a year before that. So both of those people, my mom and my brother, were my besties. Mm-hmm. And losing them, I just didn't, want to go on. You know what I mean? I just sunk that low. And so the association where I live, I got behind on it. I just didn't care. I wasn't paying for anything. I just was like, I don't care what happens. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I get a call, or the association and I were emailing back and forth, and I defaulted on a payment arrangement to stay where I am. I'm just like, oh, this is real now. So I've got to do something. Otherwise, I'm going to be homeless.
Right.
And so I defaulted on that payment plan.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, is there anything else we can do? No, we're going to move forward with foreclosure. Whew. Not 15 minutes later, I'm not kidding you, this. I'm not kidding you this. Not 15 minutes later, the same day, I'm just sitting there, just like, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. That reality of like your world closing in and you're just, yeah.
Yeah.
I get a phone call and it's the Social Security office. The Social Security office for my brother saying, the guy on the other end, I don't know if this happens, but I don't think the Social Security office will call you and say these words. I need to get you this money today. And it was almost the same amount, it was over $3,000 that I had to pay the association that they were going to give me. Almost to the penny. I'm not
That's
kidding.
insane. I remember you telling me a story and I was just mind blown. So I'm so glad that you came on to tell this story, because this is legit. Like that, again, those external things, you're like, I can't make this shit up.
I mean, I got chills everywhere. Like, I knew it was him. I knew it was him. Somehow he aligned things, or it's just mystical. So the reason why they had to give me this money was to pay for his care, his hospice care at the place that he was at. I contacted them and I said, and I was completely honest with them. I said, here's my situation. This money is going to be coming into my account, like today, tomorrow. I need to pay this bill. Would you accept a payment arrangement? They did.
Wow.
They did. I got to save my home, and I'm still here today.
Yay! I love a good happy ending spirit story on top of that.
That was Jeff and my mom or whatever.
Yeah.
But I really accredit that to Jeff.
Yeah. As you probably should. Yeah. I mean, our spirit really does. Like they do try to help us. They try to intervene as much as they possibly can. And so it furthers you've known me long enough. You've probably heard me say this. It's no longer a matter for me of, oh, I believe that could be true, but no, I know it's true. That things.
Feeling, you know what I mean? Like the moment this happened, I mean, there was just this wrap of energy around me. And this was before I became more spiritual. I knew and I felt him like a lot of the time. Like he was just with me.
I love
a lot
that.
of the time.
I love that. Well, I'm so glad that you came. First of all, glad to see you. I haven't seen you so long. We haven't talked in a long time. So glad to see you. And like, thank you for sharing that story. I love it.
Yes, it's spiritual or spirit stories don't have to be so spooky.
They don't, like literally none of them.
Right.
None of them.
If you're open to what they're trying to do, then
correct.
Like that movie Krampus. If you understand the backstory, then
see, I've not seen that. I need to see that because it's like Krampus time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I got to look that up.
It does look frightening though. But thank you for having me up.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Have a good day, Janelle.
You too, honey.
So yay. So that was another spirit story. I want to hear. So that's what we're talking about today. I think, actually there's three other people, Kimberly, besides you. I just don't know how to bring people in on. So if any of you are like really good at this whole technology thing, I need to figure out how to invite people. Oh, wait, hold on. I wonder if I can do that. How can I do that? Invite. Oh, no, I would be inviting everybody in. Hang on. Okay. I got to figure that out. So I was on, I have YouTube, Instagram, and, Facebook all streaming through, but it's streaming through something called StreamYard. It goes through all my other platforms. It'd be really nice if I could incorporate TikTok into that too. so that way I could look at one camera and not have to bounce back and forth and look between I have 3 different screens going because Instagram, even though it goes through StreamYard, has, I have to do a separate link for that. So, let's see who is coming. Oh, hey, what's up, Daniel?
Morning.
Morning.
I know a little bit about StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked it with YouTube, and
Yeah.
so that platform is actually pretty good, and it will help you understand how to work it better. It's in the help section. You have to go to the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So probably not while it's already live. I probably need to do that.
But you can't, no, you can't do it while you're live.
No.
But it will help you understand how to bring
Okay. Yeah. Because I know how to bring them in. I know how to send them the link separately, like to an email or through text, and people can join. Because I've had people join on there before. It's just in real time. I don't know how to bring people up like I can on TikTok. Like TikTok, you can bring people up and pop in, pop out. It's like a party. But I don't know if you can do that with the others through StreamYard.
Yes, you can.
Okay, then I need to do my deep dive. But what the problem is we've got squirrel syndrome, as you know. And so as soon as I'm done with this live, I'm like, and I forgot what I was going to do today. And I forget to do the deep dive and figure it out. So I do need to take the time to figure it out.
Write it down.
I do, but then
Squirrel notebook.
Oh, I do. I've got all kinds of stuff. I got notebooks, but then what I do is I abandon the notebook or I come back to it later and go, oh, look at that. That was a great idea. I wish I'd remember to take the book with me.
Okay, so stuff you got to work on today, you need to get sticky pads.
Yes. Oh, I do have those. Why don't? Oh, well, apparently I don't. I usually do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Post-it notes. Yeah.
Did you get your squirrel up on the tree yet?
I did.
Okay.
She's not here. She's not here. She's up in the tree. She's up in the tree.
Well, good. See, you did remember to do something you wanted
I did. I do remember things. So it's not so bad. I figured I'll figure it out. Oh, thanks for being part of my team. Appreciate it. So today we're telling really cool spirit stories. While I have you in here, do you have any cool spirit stories before you?
Well, really the only one was when I was first getting going into learning how to my intuition and kind of learning more about spirit, and I was in kind of a deep meditation one night here with my wife sitting beside me. And I actually kind of connected with my grandmother and uncles. And well, while I was in that connection, I seen my grandfather pull up in his old truck that he had, which he didn't talk to me, but my grandmother kind of, she given me kind of hand signals, and she kind of showed me a lantern had a regular flame in it.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it kind of exploded into a large flame. The lantern did.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. It went from just a couple of inches inside the lantern to like 3 foot.
Okay. Wow.
And, well, I kind of myself kind of took that as, okay, she's trying to tell you that, spam call.
Oh, that's all right.
No, I hung up on, but I took that as a sign that she was trying to let me know, hey, you have this potential here to go from little to really
It's big.
large. And well, in a way, it kind of scared me, but in another way, it brought tears to my eyes because I was able to connect to them.
Aw. I love that. And I love that she came through to you in such a symbolic way too, like that really deeply impacted you, you
Yes.
know, and they do that. And you've been around enough mediums and at this point that you've seen a lot of really cool stuff. You know,
Oh, yes, I have.
you've seen a lot of really
I
cool
mean,
stuff.
I
And
before on my other account, Stomping Around, before I deleted it because of scammers,
right.
is why I deleted that account. I was a moderator for, I think, either 13 or 14 psychic mediums
Yeah.
all around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
And you was one of the main ones in there. You and Dana, Willie
mm-hmm.
Woo,
Mm-hmm.
and Susan Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Hannah out in California.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of others.
Yeah. Yeah, you were. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story and also offering help on this StreamYard thing. I'm glad to know. I'm glad you told me that I can, once I figure out how to do it, that I can bring people up in real time. I'll take the time to figure it out. So,
Yeah, it does take a little time to figure out.
okay. All right. Good to know.
So, okay. If you now you do know here on TikTok, if you drop the guest, it's better for your algorithm. If your guest disconnect herself, it actually hurts your algorithm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I kick you out, then life is better.
Yeah, if you disconnect me. Yeah.
All right.
Don't talk me too hard. I already got scars.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate everything that you do. Also, not just that, but I appreciate you. All right. Thank you, Daniel.
I'm only here to help you if I can. So
I know. Thank you, Daniel. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye. I did not know that. Did anybody else know that? This is why Daniel is like a kick-ass moderator for me. He's been a moderator for the longest time for me. We do love Daniel. He just knows things. It's awesome. I know at one point, a long time ago, he even has like a little group of other moderators. They get together and figure things out. So I love that. Okay, cool, Lucas. So if you guys aren't following me on all my other platforms, make sure you do, just because America, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't think TikTok's going anywhere, to be honest. But also, I know that there's a lot more restrictions on it. So just make sure you're following me on other platforms, just in case. Lorenda Carr, my stuff is consistent. Lorenda Carr Medium. It's consistent across the board. So, all right. We are telling spirit stories. We're telling spirit stories. I want to hear your spirit stories. I want to know, like, the things that have happened to you that are just like, okay, I can't make that up. Right. So I want to talk about, I'm going to tell a story while you guys come up with your own stories. And if you want to share, just do a guest request. We'll share stories. And so there was one time I had a client here. Oh, Angel, you do? Okay. Do a guest request. If you want to come in the box and tell it, you can. So I was sitting with a mom here in person in my wine room, and, Daniel, you're killing me. So all of a sudden she had lost her children. She had lost 2 of her children at this point, in a tragic accident. And my computer is sitting on the floor because it's an in-person reading. This computer is plugged into the charger. And then all of a sudden my computer, I have a Mac, it makes the Mac just plugged in, unplugged, plugged in. It just kept like dinging, like it was being plugged in and unplugged over and over again. Right. Thank you guys for the gifts. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And all of a sudden I got this download, like, wait, did one of your sons was he a gamer? Or one of your kids a gamer? Like, did they really like games? And because the thing would not stop. It would not stop doing it. And she's like, yes, my 14-year-old. So she had a 14-year-old. I'm gonna take this off. It's giving me a headache. 14-year-old that was a gamer, was really, which tracks, right? And as soon as we acknowledged it, I was like, this is him. This is him coming through. He's messing with my electronics. And as soon as I acknowledged it, it stopped. It just stopped. I didn't touch it. It was sitting on the floor far away from me, and it just stopped. So, it's just stuff like that, that they'll bring those in, just really interesting things happening in real time. Whether I'm doing readings or out in the wild, like I could be out in the wild. And my favorite thing is like oranges. That's how I know my spirit guides are trying to get me to learn something, or they're just saying hi, is I'll see random oranges out places. Like big giant paintings of oranges. Who knew there were so many pictures and paintings of oranges? That's cool, Heather. Yeah, because spirit can manipulate electronics. So, and every time I would go to see a medium before I was a medium, her light would always blink when my grandfather would come through, or one of my grandfathers. It would always blink. And so we always knew it was him. But she always would act, it was all phony. She would act surprised, but oh my God, you see that blinking? Like, dude, I've been seeing you for 20 years now. It does it every single time. Why are we shocked? Every time. She was also one of those psychics that never knew me when I came back, and I'd been going to her for 20 years. She never knew me. I'm like, you must see a lot of people if you don't know your clients. And also, I don't exactly have a really generic name. I feel like it would have stuck eventually. It should have stayed eventually. So I want to hear your stories. If anybody else has stories in the chat, I'd love to hear it. Here we come, Angel. Can't wait. Hi, Angel. How are you? Good. All right. Tell me your story.
Anyways, I don't know how to, I'm still working with technology, but I don't know how to do, like, if I need to do, like, video or anything, but this is fine for me too.
Okay. That's fine. Whatever. But I could tell you how. You just tap your own screen, and it'll give you the option of turning on your camera, but you don't have to if you don't. It's up to you. Totally up to you. Ouch. I keep forgetting my knee hurts, and then I try to do things.
I know. Anyway, so this whole year 2024 has been amazing. So I read that book. I think it's called Science by Laura Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
That's her name.
Yep.
Anyway, so I started using it probably back in May, but I kept getting, promptings to move, but I'm terrified of moving or doing anything that affects my comfort level. So I had gotten a few signs, but the message that I kept getting was you need to quit your job and move. But I didn't know where I was supposed to move. I didn't know any of that stuff. And I'm like, and I didn't have anything set in place. And it's very hard for me to not have everything set in place.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm really supposed to quit my job and do this thing, there was a few signs that I'd asked for before that I sort of got, but I need to have lots of signs to believe.
Right.
So
I know that feeling.
But so, yeah. So I was walking out of my house down the stairs, and I saw a butterfly. There's like one single butterfly flying around, flitting, and I told Spirit, I told her, I said, if you want me to quit my job and move, make that butterfly land on my hand. And no joke, like as soon as those words came out of my mouth, that butterfly came and landed on my hand and stayed there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I wish I could have got a picture of that. But then I like, did that really happen? So then I went onto the grass, and I was like, because that's how I lived on a farm. And so I stood on the grass, and I thanked Spirit. I said, well, thank you for that sign. And I'm grateful for that. But like, I really, really need this assurance. And so I usually, when I'm gratitude prayer or whatever, I usually close my eyes. So when I open my eyes, there was literally like 5 butterflies flying around me and landed on me.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. So that was in May, and I moved from North Carolina to Utah, and there was a whole bunch of stuff. Like each step I had to trust and have faith, like nothing was set. I'm like, okay. So I quit my job, and then I started packing and doing stuff. I had no idea where I was going. And my best friend contacted me and said, hey, this house right next to us is going up for sale, and that's a whole nother amazing story in itself. But anyways, they ended up buying the house for me, and so I live next door next to my best friend, like all the way across the country.
That is like the most insane story to me. And I remember you told this in class, and I was just like, mind blown how everything, because you trusted. You're like, okay. And Spirit said, buckle up, and you said, all right. I think that was more of a roller coaster. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, it still is, because I'm still like trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm here now, what do I do? But I'm trusting. I'm more trusting now that things are going to work out. But
well, yeah, especially if they have you doing that, like there's a reason for it. There's a reason they trucked you all the way across the country to be next to your best friend, and like, and how all that worked out. That's just crazy to me, but I love it. I love that story. Ooh, I can't wait to see what ultimately, like what happens. Like, how does this play out? You know?
Yeah, we'll see.
We are fully invested in the story now. So,
okay. Well, I'll
keep us posted.
I'm supposed to start doing my social media stuff, but that's hard for me. So
you'll get there. It just takes practice, and it takes a minute, and then you'll get there. It was not easy for me to start social media. I didn't even like being on camera. I hated hearing my voice. Still not a fan, but I don't like sit and watch my own videos. So it doesn't matter if people, that's other people's problem. So
yeah, that's true.
But you'll get there.
I understand a little bit more because I'm a Scorpio, so I'm very Scorpio. So I'm like, isn't there another way? Do I really need to be on social media?
Yes, you kind of do. In this world, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, we do. I tried to avoid it for a long time, but it is what it is. Even in dance world, it's crazy. Even in dance world, if we don't have social media presence, you're just not going to get, like, people want to see it. It's crazy. So
yeah,
you'll get there. I promise.
Awesome. I love watching you. I love watching your live. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
All your classes are filled up. I was so bummed. I was like, oh dang.
Well, I had 12 no-shows in the last class. So
oh no.
It's people that signed up for the class and didn't come.
You have to be on standby. I'll be on standby. You can just text me.
I will probably let the class overfill this time. I'll probably open that back up. And I'll add you to the list. So if you don't have, if you don't have a link by like the day of, just message me, because you're already in you're already in my classes. So I want you guys to be able to take it as a priority anyway. So
awesome.
All good. All right. Thanks for coming. I'm going to disconnect you to get on my FYP that I just learned from Daniel. So, all right. Thank you, Angel, for telling your story. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. See you soon.
Welcome. See ya. All
right. Look at me learning things. What the heck? Oh, I see Ermie's in here too. One squirrel moment away from video posting. So we are sharing spirit stories. I want to hear your spirit stories. I want to hear the cool things that spirit does for you, like those just random weird things. And Angel brings up a good point, like the Laura Lynn Jackson book, it's called Signs. It's a really, really good book about understanding how spirit comes through to us and gives us signs to let us know they're okay, to let us know that they're around. Like, and it's a really good example of how spirit does that. And so my guides, at one point when I started this journey of really deep diving in with signs and asking them after I read that book, it was while I was reading that book, actually, I was listening to it, like one of the chapters was about deer. And that the family, I forget now how it all played in, but the family knew that if a deer showed up, that was going to be a sign from their loved one. And I am behind a truck going from Camp Chesterfield. By the way, I'm at Camp Chesterfield. I've been doing readings all day and life was good. I was cruising, but I'm in a fast car, right? I drive fast because I live in Indiana. I'm Indianapolis. I grew up 5 minutes from the Indy 500 and I drive like I'm in the Indianapolis 500. It's just how it is. So I'm in a fast car. I'm cruising. All of a sudden I realize, why am I going the speed limit right now? And I'm listening to this chapter, by the way, on deer and this family and going through all this. And I'm trying to listen to the story. And then I realize I'm like, why am I going so slow? And I'm in the fast lane. By the way, in Germany, they just get over. They just get over. That's all they do. There's no hate. There's no traffic controlling. People just get over. And then you go by them and then you could do what you want. Nobody cares. Nobody's trying to traffic control. Here in Indiana, they will ride side by side just to keep you from going fast. Punks. There's no reason for that. Anyway, that's a deep dive. So I realize that I'm going the speed limit in the fast lane in this like 70-mile-an-hour zone. This is stupid, right? And I look and I'm like, what is in front of me right now? So I pay attention to what's actually in front of me. And it's a trailer. It's a truck pulling a trailer. Covered in John Deere stickers with the deer, the jumping deer. Yeah, I know, right, Angel? Punks. So I had to and I was like, oh, that's cute. Cool. Noted. Can you move them? And as soon as I saw it, as soon as I said that, they moved over. Yeah. So that was such a cool, it was such a cool, funny story. And then with the oranges, I was going through, that same weekend is when I was reading, doing readings all weekend on telling my story, but now I have to, okay, see, it's about a deer. See, there's the sign. Here's your sign. All right. I'm bringing Allison up here. I got to hear your story and then we'll keep talking. Hello. All right. Tell me, welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, good. I got to hear your story.
Okay. This is crazy. So yesterday, I have to take my son to speech before I bring him to school on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And so took him to speech, and then on our way to head back to the school, we have to drive through it's like a little forest preserve. Mm-hmm. And so tons of wildlife everywhere. And so 2 signs that technically 3 that I always feel from like my grandpa and my cousin are hawks. I always see hawks in like sets of 3 all the time. And then eagles, which I really have a deep connection with eagles. So, and then another random one. I will randomly smell skunks because my grandpa's heart medicine growing up smelled like skunks to me. So I will randomly smell a skunk and then no one else will smell it. And I'll be like, okay, what the heck? Right. But anyways, yeah. So yesterday, driving my son to school, a hawk flew right across my windshield and dove into the ditch right in front of me. And I was just like, oh, okay, that was close. And then like a minute later, my son is like, you smell that skunk? And I was like, I don't actually. And I usually have a good nose. I'm the one that smells it. And I'm like, no, I don't. And he's like, that stinks. And I was like, how? Okay. I'm like, Grandpa's got to be with us here.
Right. You
know, what is he trying to say? Or he's just, hanging out with us. So I drop him off at school. And then on my way back home, also, I cruise. Like you were just saying, I'm a speed demon. I hate to say it, but I like it.
We got places to be, things to do. Let's go.
Exactly. So I'm getting ready to go down this super steep hill that turns guardrails on each side. And I get to the top of the hill and 2 eagles swoop right above my windshield. And something just told me, like, okay, slow down. Like, my immediate thought was, there's
Slow
deer
down.
everywhere. Slow down. So I did, and I've never went so slow down this hill in my life. So, the very bottom of the hill, 2 deer jump right over the guardrail, right into the middle of the road, and still had to slam on my brakes. But I mean, I 100% would have taken these deer out. So,
Or they would have taken you out.
exactly. And so, and you know, I got a new car. That's my baby. So I would have been devastated or, you know, could have been injured. So, I mean, it was just that feeling, like immediately I just knew. And so, yeah, pretty crazy.
That is crazy. I love that though, because like, it's just, you learn, okay, spirit's got my back. Like that was already even on your radar, like,
Yes.
because it had just happened. And what do you want to bet? The skunk? Or what do you want to bet that the eagle that went into the ditch probably was trying to get a skunk?
Oh, yeah, probably, honestly. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of like felt their presence, and then the 2 eagles that flew over, I'm like, okay, they're really trying to get my attention now. So before I was just like, oh, they're just around saying hey or whatever, and I'm like, no, I think they're trying to warn me. So
that's so cool. I love that. I love that I brought up that deer story because I hadn't thought of it. I forgot about that one until so that is cool. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I love that your grandpa comes through like that for you, because people do. We miss our loved ones and we just think that they're gone. And they're just like dancing around us going, no, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Check it out. Here's an eagle. Here's a skunk. Here's this. And also, let's just talk about, I feel like they could have come up with a better one than skunk.
Yeah, well, I agree, because I mean, I smell it far too often, and I'd rather not. So, yeah.
Maybe reestablish that. Be like, listen, we're kind of done with the skunk thing. Let's smell, I don't know, hot dogs, something, anything else, and then see if it starts showing up instead of skunks.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
And then maybe the skunk can be the red flag, red alarm, pay attention.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I don't know. I feel like you can they could get creative. They can come up with something else besides skunk.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to him and see.
All right, exactly. So, well, thanks for coming on, Allison. I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to disconnect you because Daniel told me to. All right, thank you, Allison. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Yay, fun. I love these spirit stories. I love the spirit stories. So yeah, if you've got a spirit story, I know like Rob, do you have any good stories? Do you have any good things to share? Looks like Michelle. Oh, Michelle's in here too. Michelle Z. I've seen some of my regulars are in here. All right, we'll do a guest request. I'm coming. Rob!
Hey, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm at work, so I'm gonna keep this quick.
All right.
Yeah, so one of the, I'm in a conference room, so I'm good.
Okay.
One of the things I was starting to do this year was do in-person readings at a shop in Santa Cruz. And it's very different when you do in-person readings. People come in with a certain expectation. People that see me on TikTok, I'm playing all sorts of music. I kind of just let it go, let spirit pick the music. But in the shop, people come in, they're expecting some sort of reverence, And so I made a little playlist of like 4 or 5 meditation songs on Apple Music and just let it play during the reading. And this one woman had come in, and I don't remember all the context of it, but essentially she had been in a relationship. They went really bad, and she'd been done wrong, if you will, and she was really feeling it. And so we were doing cards and mediumship, and somewhere in between, we were really trying to focus on this kind of how to, all the messages coming through were all about, you got to try to get yourself to a place of focusing on yourself and let this kind of negative energy go. And she just kept coming back around it. So I've got this meditation music. There's like 4 songs on there. They're each like an hour long. So I'm like, good, right? There's not any change in the music.
Yeah.
Nope. In the middle of what we're doing, And I'm on a playlist of these meditation music.
Right.
The song Karma Police comes up by Radiohead. Here's this woman's totally focused on revenge and, where she's been and all these things. And this song comes up and it's just like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
They'll
Yeah.
get theirs. You focus on you, they'll get theirs. But this song was not in that playlist. But
And it just came up.
To bring it in.
And I think it's a really great example. With you doing this work, don't you find that spirit comes in like electronically? That's their easiest communication. Like that's music, lights, electronics. It's their easiest
To
thing.
your point of what you were just saying a moment ago about change the symbol. Spirit knows for me, music. Like I play music all the time
Same.
when I'm doing readings.
Yeah.
So they know that I turn to music all the time for messages from Spirit. Like we'll start a reading and a song will start. It's like, okay, well, this song is for you. Like, and the words just line up. And so
Yep.
Spirit knows. So you're right. You grab the message, grab the media, and tell Spirit what it is. And the more you do it, the more they use it. So yeah, it is amazing. And I was like, I had to go check. I'm like showing the woman. I'm like, this song is not in this.
This is not on this. I swear it's not here.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, the Spirit's fun. You just got to be open to it and put a practice in place and start to message that when I hear this, when this happens, I think this. And it's what I tell people in my readings using cards is you're creating your own language.
Yes.
So you don't have to know what tarot necessarily means. If you look at a card and you think, oh, there's a hawk there, and that hawk means grandpa, guess what? That's all it needs to mean. And when that card comes up and you see that hawk, it means grandpa.
Yes.
So create your own language and Spirit will use it.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, anybody in here not following Rob, what are you doing with your life? If you aren't, but yeah, Rob actually even inspired and helped me in creating my own deck. But he's got, how many decks do you have now? 3, 4? Are you 3?
I have 3 and then a couple chakra decks.
That's right. So
Thank you.
I love them. I use them all the time. I'm pretty sure I've sold some for you at events. Just because I love them. But I appreciate you.
We're moving shortly here, and I'm finding I'm gonna have to, because I'm leaving California, I'm gonna have to shut down my business in California and reopen another business. We're changing states, so anyway, toward the end of the month, I'm gonna have to shut down my shop, and it might take me a month or so to get things reestablished.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Yeah.
Yikes!
So we'll probably have some needing to move the inventory toward the end of the month.
Okay. All right. Well, tag me and stuff, and I'll make sure to I'll help push stuff out for you guys.
Thanks.
So if you're, of course.
Well, have a great day. This is great fun.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, Rob. I'll disconnect you. Yep. I'll boop you out. All right. Yay. Let's see the very next. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Alice is telling another story. Keep my son's surgery date at the time. I didn't have the money to say the very next day. My husband got a random $500 bonus at work. That's insane, Allison. See, I'm telling you, this stuff is legit. Yeah, you guys keep tapping the screen. Share the love. Share the love. There was somebody else in here that said they had another story. And Kimberly, if I'm missing you now. Oh, okay. Thank you, Kimberly. I'm sorry I'm not like more interactive on the other platforms. I'm just not very good at it. But I try to at least be accessible so we can have these conversations. So people across the different platforms that don't do TikTok can actually be in on the conversations and learn something as well. So y'all learning things? Are you learning things? I feel like I really enjoyed doing this for the learning too. Michelle, if you want to come tell your story, come just do a guest request. You can come in. I'll bring you in. That's what we're doing today. We're telling stories. We're sharing each other's stories. I want to hear these cool synchronicities, these cool, fun things that you guys are experiencing that prove the continuity of life and prove that spirit's around. It is amazing. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. All right. So talk to me. Tell me what's happening. Tell me your story.
I have a crazy story.
Okay.
Well, at least it's crazy to me. So when my spiritual awakening happened, it happened like back with my grandma. My grandma had passed away, which I had said in class the other day. So this is how it all began. was the fact when we got a phone call from my aunt to let us know on December 22nd of 2021 that my grandmother had went unresponsive.
Okay.
So I had to drive an hour and a half back to my hometown because, of course, I was going to spend those lasting days with my grandmother.
Right.
And for some reason, when I got to town, I had this huge anxiety that came over me, like almost like I just didn't want to see her. Like this being her lasting moments, I didn't want to see her like that.
Okay.
So then I was thinking about leaving and going back home. And all of a sudden, my husband was like, hey, why don't we just go to the cemetery, go to your grandpa's grave, and he said, and just kind of chill out there for a little bit. So I was like, hey, that's a good idea. Like, let's go over there. So we went to the cemetery. I went to my grandpa's grave. I sat there for a little bit, and me and my husband were telling stories and stuff about just things that were reminiscent on my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And then my family's heavily religious. Like, my grandma's side of the family was Catholic. My mom's side of the family was Southern Baptist. So, like, it was shoved down our throats as we were kids. So I can't say that I was ever really religious, but I was very spiritual. Mm-hmm. Like, I believed in ghosts. I believed in all that stuff. All the spiritual woo-woo stuff was definitely a me thing.
Yeah.
So I did sit at the grave as we were getting ready to go because my husband's like, I think you really need to go to your grandma's. And I'm like, okay. And I told my grandpa, I was like, look, if signs, synchronicities, if this stuff is really, really real, because I had really never experienced anything like so profound that I was like, okay, this is it.
Right.
I tell my grandpa, I was like, send me a butterfly or a rainbow or something. And my husband's like, it's in December. We're in Kansas. There's not going to be rainbows or butterflies. Like, what are you doing?
What are you talking about?
And we kind of both start laughing. I'm like, okay, like, send me a cardinal or something. Like, let me know. Like, send me something. So we end up leaving and going to my grandma's house. And as soon as I get there, my aunt's like, hey, I'm going to give you some time. Just you spend as much time back there as you need. So I go to my grandma's bedside. And they had her literally covered up to her neck because she was really cold anyways, but with a big blanket. And I just happened to like take a moment where I was just kind of talking to her. And I go grab the blanket to flip the blanket back. And my grandmother's like fleece Christmassy pajamas that she was wearing had cardinals all over it.
That's hilarious.
I literally gasped air. And my husband looks at me like, what are you doing? My dad kind of looks at me like, are you good? And I just looked
no.
at my husband goes, oh my gosh.
You had a witness, which is even better.
Right. And then, of course, my husband immediately starts rattling everything off to my dad because my dad at first thought we were like all crazy. And then the doorbell ends up ringing. And I told my dad, I said, just sit down, I'll go get it. And I walked down the hallway, and it was our local hometown florist. Uh-huh. And she hands me this big bouquet, because everybody knew my grandmother. My grandmother was a judge the whole time I was growing up in the town. So she gives me this huge bouquet. She welcomes me back home. And this whole bouquet has got fake cardinals inside of it. 2 of them. And I'm like, I can't even talk to this lady. I turned to my husband like, what is happening? And he was like, that is crazy. He goes, I can't even, he's like, but it is a Christmas bird. Like, so of course I was doing the same thing, kind of questioning, like, is this really happening? Like, okay, you got to give me something more than this. So then we get ready to leave. I tell my dad, I'm going to come back the next morning because I had to go to work. And as me and my husband were walking to the Navigator, all of a sudden, I hear this bird just going crazy. We were like, what is that sound? Like, it sounded so crazy. And my husband goes, it's your grandpa's birdhouse, because they had birdhouses all around the house. And I look up, and there's like several cardinals sitting on this thing, eating birdseed, but one was going so crazy wild, and it flew at me, like flew towards me, into my face, up and over my husband. My husband had to duck, and we were like, what? Yeah, what? My husband was like, is that enough signs and synchronicities for you? Like, he goes, that was too much. He goes, that like, because he didn't believe in any of the stuff until that day. Like,
Wow.
this is crazy. So then we go home, and then I come back to the house the next day. I fell asleep, which was so crazy because the conversation I had with my grandma, I said, I just wish I could hear you just tell me that you love me one more time.
Aww.
And because I hadn't been going home as often as I probably should have, because it's just life. When you're working, life kind of just takes over, you know? And I had fell asleep. And as I was like dozing off into that, I guess, I don't know if it's a theta state or whatever, you just kind of doze off, but you don't know everything that's going around, you know?
Yes, theta. That's you nailed it. Theta state. Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I get this bright light, everything went kind of dark, and then I get this bright light, like where I see this bright light coming, but it was so far in the distance, and I was like, this is crazy, like what's happening? And then this light just starts getting closer and closer and closer, and then it ended up being like a movie reel, kind of like a Polaroid picture or something like came up. I see a silhouette of a person walking up, and I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, my grandmother comes into complete view, like. But it wasn't like her as being old and being in the bed. I remembered her as she was when I was a kid.
When you were a kid, oh.
And she comes straight into view, and she says, I love you too. And then right behind her, my grandpa came in and he just kind of waved. And it was so real. I smelled her cologne, her perfume, my grandpa's cologne, like. And she told me everything was going to be okay. And it jolted me awake. And then I just started rattling off everything to my husband, like what had just happened. He goes, you did tell your grandma, you just wanted to hear her say that, you know, she loved you one more time. And it happened, which was so crazy. And then it was at the funeral, we were going through, like, they'd hand you all these pamphlets and everything. Because I thought it was so weird that my grandma went unresponsive, which Christmas is her, that is her holiday. She passes away on Christmas Eve.
Oh my gosh.
So there was nobody in our family that was doing well at Christmas at all.
Right.
So my aunt calls us. She said, hey, this is the only date they have available for the funeral. And my dad's like, okay, we can go ahead and do that. And then I'm the one that noticed when we got to the funeral, I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just like, I don't know, there was just calmness. I was no longer sad. I was happy. I was laughing. I had people looking at me like, what in the world are you laughing about in the middle of the funeral? And I had to hold up the pamphlet. I'm like, this was all planned. Like, this is a plan. So this made me believe 100% that we pick our time to come in and we pick our time to leave.
Yeah.
My grandmother was laid to rest next to my grandpa on their wedding anniversary.
Aww. See, all of it. You're right. And you know what? You know why she died on Christmas Eve? Because Christmas is such a big thing. She wanted to go to the Jesus birthday party.
Yes. And I was like, I wasn't even supposed to speak at her funeral, and they pulled me up. As soon as I was like laughing, and then he's like, I'm sorry. The preacher's like, I'm pulling you up here. You need to tell this story because, like, he goes, I can't even imagine, because I just watched you were bawling in that back room a minute ago. And he's like, and now you're laughing. I'm like, no, this is how my grandma wanted it.
Yes. And that, honestly, and the more, and I know you're just like delving into some of this stuff, the more you do this, the more you're going to get more and more and more proof that this is how spirit wants it. They want us living our lives every day. And it's okay to miss them. It's okay to grieve, but understanding, like, she had a good life. She was done. She lived, she had her time here, and she's like, I made it to the Jesus party, squealing in, you know?
Right. Right.
And
then another one that was really crazy, and because after my grandma passed, I fell into a pretty deep depression. She was my rock. Like, if I needed somebody to talk to, I'd pick up the phone and call her, and I would tell her everything. So about 3 to 4 weeks after she had passed, I ended up on TikTok, right? Just scrolling. Of course, I fall across, like, you and Cody, Hannah, a couple of the others. But Cody was the main one that pulled me in from my old account. And he was like, I don't know why, but I just got to start singing this song. And he starts singing that I Can Only Imagine. And that was my grandma's favorite song.
Aw, I love that.
pulled me fully into this, where I was like, okay, this is it.
This is it.
Everything that I had thought as a kid growing up, where I thought, I don't know. I just kind of feel like there's something a little bit more to this than just religion. Of course, I was always the outsider when it came to that.
Right.
But now,
you know what I kind of love? Is that, in class the other night, I love that that's the thing that got you to go, that's it, I'm doing this, was because of a song, and that the exercise we did was music related.
Right. Well, all of my stuff that my grandma does has been music related. Like last Christmas, we were driving to Joplin, Missouri. I took my kids out on the old 66.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all out there just doing some Christmas stuff. And all of a sudden, my daughters couldn't get the seatbelt to work. So we had to pull over at the gas station. And I'm like, what? It's like we were messing with this thing. And then all of a sudden, we were listening to some rap that, my kids listen to rap. And it's just something my grandma would not approve of. But the channel kept changing from that to like really old time jazz that has never been on my radio at all. And I thought, this is weird. I turned around and I changed it back in no scripts. I have touch screen. I've got a navigator, so I've got all of the bells and whistles. I touched the touch screen back to what we were listening to, and it went back to the channel, like right in front of me, like somebody touched it right in front of me. The button pushed in and everything. And my daughter was like, what is going on? I don't know. And my husband's going,
Grandma's got an attitude. Grandma did not want to listen to that today.
And then all of a sudden, I was just like, hold up. My ear started ringing, and it's so weird. It's like my family comes in on my left side, and my dad's family always on my right side. And I immediately went, Grandma's here. And my daughter looks at me like I'm half crazy, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. It's Grandma.
It's Grandma.
And I said, hey, it's like, Grandma, if you're here, I put it back on wrap, and I said, turn the channel back to what you had it on. And it went right back to the channel.
See,
and I was like, oh my gosh. So I hook up my MP3 player to the deal, or my phone. It's pretty much my iPhone to my deal, and I start rolling through songs. And I was like, I want you to just choose a song that you want to listen to. And then she ended up playing a Craig Morgan song, Almost Home. And I was like, oh my gosh, because that song is one of her favorite songs, and she had bought us tickets to that concert, and it played on the radio on my phone. And we didn't touch the phone, we didn't do nothing. It went straight to that song.
That's crazy. I love it. I love it. The spirit they get super creative, and once they figure out one way to do it, they'll keep doing it.
Yes. And it's always lights and stuff in our house. My TV will turn off. This is even crazier. My husband bought me a ghost lamp for Halloween. And it's just a little cute little ghost thing. We are like watching a Christmas show the other day, and it pops on its own. My husband's like, okay, I'm not okay with that. Like, we can't have a ghost lamp coming on its own. because the only thing that glows in this ghost lamp is the eyes and the mouth. Right. And I won't put it up. And I'm like, I'm keeping it out. It's staying on my desk. Because you cannot keep a ghost lamp on the desk all year long. I'm like, oh, I'm keeping it. And especially now that it turned on its own, it's staying. Yep, it's staying. Grandma gets to stay. Ghost Grandma gets to hang out. That is hilarious. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And now you'll have to start kind of challenging your spirit guides, now that you're kind of on this journey, to start giving you signs. Well, now that I know there's more than two, like there's so many people that say so many things, so I just didn't know how many guides that we had. And I thought it was so weird, because I actually thought I just had a aimless spirit just hanging around my house, because I thought my spirit guides were female, because I know my spirit, 2 of them are female. Then all of a sudden I have this masculine come in that gives me anxiety when he gets too close to me. It's so weird. It's like because it's not anxiety. It's because it's masculine vibration. That is so crazy. It's because like Dr. Mike, my dude spirit guide, it feels metallic. It feels I don't even know the words to put to it really, but it feels a lot more dense. Masculine energy is dense versus feminine energy is a lot lighter and higher vibration. It's very different, and it blends so easily with me.
But when he comes in, I'm like, oh, dang it, here we go. But I know it's him. But it creates an anxiety because it doesn't blend naturally with your feminine energy. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Well,
there
that
you
makes
go.
a better sense. And that definitely makes me feel better because I did go to my husband and I was like, I don't know. Like, we had just did this ghost thing not too long ago that we went on this little ghost tour and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if something attached to me.
Right.
There is a male in this house. And he was like, what? I'm like, I've got a masculine energy that is here. And I get, every time it comes around, I get a woodsy smell. It's like a woodsy, like, I don't know, like you're out in the woods, like woodsy smell.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's a little creepy, but okay. He's like, does it feel like malevolent? Or I'm like, no, nothing like that. It's just something's here. Something's trying to get my attention.
And now you know who it is.
Yeah, I think this is my main guide that's pushing me forward on this next, because I am definitely into developing, because obviously it's coming on whether I like it or not.
It's coming. It's coming. It's like, yeah. And I love that when like spirit will just shove you in. They'd be like, here you go, sink or swim, because it's time.
Yeah, and that's why I asked you if my grandma could be a guide, because she is here all the time. Like, I know when she comes in, I get this like low tone ring in my ear, and I'm immediately like, hey, grandma. And
they do. Spirits in general, like they can guide us, they can teach us, they can show us things, they can bring us job opportunities. I mean, are they a core guide no, because you knew her.
Right.
But so your classroom project guide, no. But your classroom friends, like people that you go to school with, people that are walking through the hallway going, how's it going? That they're going to come in, they're going to be part of our world. They're going to help us and they're going to guide us. So I love that. And I love that your teacher
guide-led writing. I think it kind of helps a lot. So I ask for help and guidance. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to spend an hour and just whatever comes to my mind first, I'm writing it down. And then we'll just try to see if it makes any sense. So that's what I'm doing to kind of help myself, like, kind of develop. And then, of course, waking up first thing in the morning, I grab my journal and just start writing everything that's in my head, like, down.
That's awesome, because you're coming out of that theta state. So you're not, that's when we remember our dreams. We remember things, or like messages come to us. So that is actually the perfect time. Sometimes I'll grab my phone and just do like a voice memo and just say everything that came to my head. Like when I wake up, because I certainly don't keep pen and paper next to my bed. I should, but I don't. So, but that's awesome. Well, I'm glad. Thank you so much for sharing like these cool stories. And something else to consider, you guys, is sometimes they'll tell it, like your grandpa knew that there were going to be cardinals around. He knew that was going to be a reference for you. So like they make us think that we came up with that idea.
Yeah.
But they plant the idea of the cardinals. Right. So, so that knowing, and we think we thought of it. We're like, look at us go thinking about cardinals. Okay, we'll do cardinals. But then all of a sudden, all the cardinals happen. Right.
Right.
But grandpa knew, oh yeah, let's see, what do we got? Oh, cardinals. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then they make you think you did it. Isn't that funny?
Right.
And I've asked spirit, I'm like, that wasn't my idea, was it? Because I'll think I'm a genius. And they'll be like, nope. You're welcome.
I have felt that way a couple of times too. And then my husband's like, well, how did you know? And I'm just like, well, I can't actually take all the credit. I feel like that was spirit telling me.
Right. You're like, how'd you know? I don't have any idea. It's they just plant those little seeds in your brain, and you're like, oh, I know. I'll come up with this idea.
Right. And the reading that we just did with Jesse the other day with my husband, where I was like, I think that is my husband's uncle coming through. Like, I've got a lot of stuff that I got to email you, because she was right on a lot of things, because I started questioning him on all kinds of things. And the funny thing is I didn't know that my daughter and my son were on the live at the same time.
That's awesome.
They were in their bedroom watching the whole thing, kind of freaking out, going, that is Uncle Chad. That is Uncle Chad.
That's cool. So wait a minute. This was on, I didn't see Jesse's live. She was live?
No, I was with you. Remember, you had Jesse on your
Oh.
platform, and you guys.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd come on, and I was like,
I
hey,
remember.
I think this is my husband's uncle, but he is asleep. I can't just.
Can't really ask. Yes. Oh,
Good morning.
definitely message me because I definitely want to hear more about that.
He was so spot on. When I started asking him questions, he just turned and looked at me, and he was like, "Why didn't you just wake me up?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know better than that." Nope.
No. But that makes it even cooler when you can come back and go, but da 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 da. And that live, I should have that live. I posted it so he could go back and watch it. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
That whole live is on YouTube. So if he ever wants to go back and watch it, he can, like in case you missed anything. It should be on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
the first way I started it out with him was I was like, "Hey, Uncle Chad said, what did you guys used to make fun of his shoes for all the time?" He's like, he wore those high top New Balance dad shoes. And I'm like, exactly. And then my daughter just started rattling off everything from the live.
That is nuts.
Fantastic.
I love that. And well, Jesse's a powerhouse medium too, on top of that. So I love that.
She was spot on a lot.
Yeah. Yay. Well, I'm so glad I've got you in classes now and that you're here telling your story and sharing your stories, because I think it's important for people to know whether you choose to develop or not is irrelevant. We can utilize spirit every single day. We can understand the continuity that spirit goes on, that they're constantly around us. You know,
I just ordered the book Journey of Souls, and if you have any other books that would be great to like kind of help out, that would be awesome.
Okay. I'll look through my stuff. I have a whole collection of books, and sometimes I'm like, okay, that's the book I needed in that moment. And then sometimes they're relevant, sometimes they're not. And sometimes they're relevant later. So yeah, I'll, cause you've already done Signs, Laura Lynn Jackson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought. You said that first. And then Gordon Smith has one that's building your intuition. That's good. What is the other one? I'll look through my stuff.
Okay.
I might just do a book recommendation list. Hannah McIntyre Medium has a book that's really good that I love to tell people to read. And it is, do I have it down here? Oh, I might have it. Let me grab it. I think she's doing something with her book right now. This is also a really good, for like new developing people who are like trying to connect and like realizing that they want to do this. This is a really good book. You Are a Medium. You just don't know it yet.
You did say that on one of the other.
Yeah, by Hannah McIntyre. She's such a fantastic person. Like I'd give my money to her any day. Like I love supporting her, and you can just get that on Amazon. It's like $15. It's not that expensive, but it's really, really, really good. And it gives like really good exercises, and it's with her own stories and journey. It's fun. So those of you in the chat, this is a good book. Check it out. And follow Hannah McIntyre. Is Hannah McIntyre Medium or Hannah? I forget now what her TikTok handle is, but she's awesome too. Anyway, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you sharing your cool stories. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So, all right. Well, I'm going to disconnect you because it keeps me in the FYP apparently.
All right. Well,
Per Daniel.
Have a great day.
All right. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Awesome. So we're talking about spirit stories. We're telling spirit stories. If any of you in the chat, the name of the book is You Are a Medium. You Just Don't Know It Yet by Hannah McIntyre. I feel like this is a really good book for people who are thinking about joining or thinking about joining a class or thinking about delving more into it. And then also John Edwards' Infinite Quest. It's an old book. And do I have it down here? No. I have a lot of my books are upstairs in my office. And I tell people, especially if they're like, I'm an empath, I feel like I should be doing readings for income. Like, okay. Start with Infinite Quest by John Edward. Hi, Virginia. How are you? My leg hurts. It's fine though. I had my surgery January 7th. It's feeling better though. Like it is doing better for the most part, but I taught for 4 hours last night. So you know that feeling. Okay. And you don't want to discourage people. You teach, you don't want to discourage people when they're just like, and I'm an empath. I had a person that was like, I feel things, so I should be doing readings and I could make so much money doing that. I'm like, okay. So start with John Edwards, Infinite Quest, because all they talk about is ego. He spends so much time talking about ego, and like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think the only thing I don't agree with, I'm sure there's others, but like the thing that I don't agree with John Edward and a lot of the old school mediums, people that were raised being mediums in the 80s and 90s, is that they're like, anybody can be psychic, but not everybody can be a medium. I don't think it's about that. I believe anybody can be a medium. Now, anybody can do this because we are light. We are connected to the light. We are connected to the divine. So we can get messages, but you have to be open to how you receive it. But there is a school of thought that in order to connect to spirit, you have to sit in the power. I don't fucking have that. I don't have time for that. Who has time for that? Sit in the power, grow your light, and then send out your light. And then you have to feel the spirit. We call that clairsentience. And not everybody does that. Not everybody does that. Not everybody wants someone's energy in their bubble. Some of us have energy boundaries. I don't want to feel a spirit necessarily all the time. So like, I'm a mental medium. Some people think that if you're a mental medium, you're not a medium, you're just doing psychism. And that's not true. So it's just a matter of labeling things. But, Hannah does a good job with this. She did a good job with this book and explaining a lot of that stuff. And, she and I come from the same train of thought. Anybody can be a medium, which means even bad people can be mediums. Even people with ill intentions can be mediums, which is why it's so important to do your due diligence. Okay. If you've got fear mongering, if you've got people that are, TikTok is a perfect example of that. Yep. And yes. So like Angel's saying, you have to do shadow work and become empowered empath, not just an empath, or you will get drained. That's very, very true. So true. Right, Heather? I know. I feel like you know what? Actually, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all, actually. Interesting. And I always like hearing people's stories of how they became a medium. Some people were born, some of the worst mediums, I will tell you, some of the worst, most unethical are the undeveloped mediums, the ones that were born with the gift, that can see and like they understand spirit, they get messages, but they don't know how to discern anything. So they're the ones like, oh yeah, this person can't cross over. They need my help. No, they don't. They're already over there, for God's sake. And if they needed help, if they need it, it's not you. You're not it. How are you, the human, to be like, you must go to the light? Whatever, they're already in the light. And spirit's got that. Spirit's got it. They're like, listen, you do you. We've got this. If you're an empath and you get really drained, you need to put up energy boundaries. That's a really, really good question, Sherry. I'm glad you asked that. There are a lot of people who are very empathic. Like you walk into a room and you feel everything that everyone else is feeling, right? So exactly, Angel. I agree. It is. It is a lot of Hollywood influence. So if you're that person who walks into a room and you can feel the energy, or like two people are standing there smiling, looking at you, but they've been fighting. Perfect example, two kids are looking all innocent. They just burned something down in the backyard and they're just standing there looking at you like they didn't do anything. Something's up. That's an empath. In order to not take on everybody else's energy, because that's what you're doing. You're giving away your energy trying to fix someone else. And also you're taking on other people's energy to also fix yourself. So what you want to do, and John Edward, this is a good example. Read John Edward's book, Infinite Quest. It's so old. It's been around for a long time, but it was extremely, extremely helpful. And I would even recommend listening to it, doing the audiobook, because you can hear him say it in the intonation that you need to hear him saying it, with his New Jersey accent and everything. but putting up like a two-way mirror around you. Okay. It's open to the top. So the only information that can touch you directly from the top of the head is that everything that's coming in is from the divine, right? So you've got the divine here. Everything else you can see out, and you can see energy. You can see people's energy. You can see their intentions. You can see what you need to see, not being intrusive, but you can see the energy and recognize when it's theirs and not yours. But when they send that energy to you, because a lot of people are energy vampires, and they like to unload their own stuff on us, that it bounces back to them and they feel it. So you're not taking it on and absorbing their energies and their lessons. They're getting to sit in their own stuff, which is way better than you taking it on, right? Way better than you taking it on yourself. So if you put those two-way mirrors up and set up that intention that you can still be aware, because we do, especially empathic people, we want to be aware. We want to help people. We want to, we even want to help fix people. We're fixers a lot of times. We're healers. That's why we have the gift of empathy, but you have to have that discernment of what is yours and what is theirs. And is that mine? Do I need to take it on? No, because how, as a parent, do we get all in our feels with our kid? Do we like, oh my God, yes, you're right. That kid at school. No, we stand above it and go, wow, that had to have sucked. Okay. So what are we going to do now? So what next? How do we want to work with that? Right. So you get that, you start learning that discernment of being able to see it and recognize it without taking it on yourself. And you've got to be, in order, if you're going to do mediumship, that's step number one. Step number one is being able to separate yourself and understanding what is yours and what is theirs. What is spirit? What is the person in front of you? And what is your stuff? So, that's step one, is in the discernment process, is understanding what is yours and what isn't. What questions do you guys have? Like, we only have a few minutes left. I ended up not doing mediumship. That's weird. I haven't gotten any spirits coming in either, but I've had so much fun sharing all of you guys' stories and having you all in here. And so what I'm going to do also is post when I know everything will post automatically on the other platforms, but I will repost the TikTok version of this so people can be seen and all that from on the screen. So what questions y'all have? I want to and nice to meet you, Erica. Welcome. Make sure you're following me. We've been talking today about spirit stories, people's spirit stories. Good. I'm glad, Roxanne. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. And now, so I want you to kind of challenge yourself. What, are there things that maybe you've experienced that you didn't realize? Oh, wait, did I see your comment? Maybe not. Hold on. Let me go back. You have a rebuttal for the stuck spirit theory. Why don't they stick before? Right. Thank you. I know people just it's our human ego. It's our human ego. And there are people that fully believe that spirits need us to help them cross over. It's so not true. Birthing mediums. But that's a whole other show. And I wouldn't mind bringing in people that fully believe that spirits need help crossing over sometimes. I would love to engage in that conversation, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm arrogant and stuck in my own belief system. I don't know. But maybe talk to people who really believe that and why, and find out why and what it is and I would be interested to know, what it is that I as a human can offer that spirit who is connected to the divine. What in the world do I have to offer them? And why would they need me to do that? So I wouldn't mind having a good deep dive discussion, even on the show here with someone about that. I think it'd be quite fascinating. Noted. I'm going to make a note of that. But I don't know too many people that, I do. I work, especially in the paranormal investigation field. There's a lot that they're and I helped a spirit cross over today. where we talked about it, and I read a spirit they thought were stuck. You read a spirit. I was like, wait, I read that wrong. Yeah, I mean, and I think sometimes it's not that they're stuck, they're just here. That's like they're in that frequency. That's just where they want to be, or where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be listening to jazz music at that point and not the classical music. Yeah, maybe they're stuck in country hell. I don't know. I missed the guy that was before me who you said we should follow. Oh, Intuitive Intention. His name's Intuitive Intention is his screen name. His name's Rob. He's awesome. Really great guy. And his decks are absolutely gorgeous. Actually, I use his decks a lot on the road because they're so easy. Yeah, I've got 2 of the 3. I have 2 of the 3 of his decks. So yeah, Intuitive Intention, Rob, he's got a tarot deck. So if you guys don't follow him, oh my goodness, there he is again. Hey, Rob, make sure you follow him right there. You must have been listening in the background. So yeah, Intuitive Intention. His cards are really awesome. See, I didn't even know you were in here. I told you I tout you when you're not into that, when you're not in here. So yeah, make sure you guys follow Intuitive Intention, Rob. He's awesome. Sounds like he might be having a fire sale soon before he moves. So definitely tap into that, or not. Actually, you should just get them at full price because they're freaking awesome and worth every dime. And here's the Oracle deck that are right in the same vein as far as the design with them and stuff. So, and then of course, and I just like the feel of them, which is the same feel as mine because I use the same printer. Hi, DG. How are you? So today we've been telling stories, spirit stories. I am too, but you should be obsessed with mine too. My Dancing Spirit Oracle deck. You should be obsessed with that. Oh, and look, here's the Rising Phoenix. One of my favorite deities to work with is named Rising Phoenix. I channeled him once. What about quantum hypnosis where they find attached souls to the person? I've never had that happen. I'm a QHHT practitioner. I've never had that happen, that no souls get attached. Our souls are part of our higher soul, our higher self, right? It's not that they're attached. They're just part of our journey. And what are we learning? So we can disconnect that energy from our past life. If we've brought energy into this lifetime that we're not really needing, it's just we're still connected to the divine, to our oversoul, right? So all of our past lives are part of that oversoul, and it may not even be past. It might be happening concurrently. That's the thing. We don't understand time as humans, but again, that's a whole other deep dive that would be great for another show, for another topic. Would it be like an energy loop from a trauma of a past life? Yeah, that could actually, it could be your own life popping up. But I feel like you would recognize them. Like you would be like in a weird way, recognize them. You're like, why do I have that? Okay. So I believe like there's different frequencies, right? There's different stations, there's different levels. So you go where you're vibing, right? But ultimately the universe, God comes in and takes care of it. Like they don't need us humans. Do I do trance classes? Funny you should ask, Heather. I am going to be teaching a trance class at the first of the year. I haven't put it out yet, but yes, I'm going to be teaching a trance class because I love trance mediumship. To me, it's the purest form of mediumship because you just get it straight from the horse's mouth. And you do trance mediumship no matter when you do quantum healing and when you do hypnosis, because you are channeling your higher self. So yeah, you can get on I don't have a list yet. I got to be honest. I don't have a list yet. I had a past life reading done. It's crazy how much my likes and dislikes are the same in this life. Yes, it does happen. The lessons we've learned they're part of our DNA. They're our spiritual DNA, right? And then, that's another deep dive for another show. Look at you. You guys got to help me coming up with all these great show ideas for the future. Because there's a difference between our current life DNA, like what flows through us, that's detectable. We can pull it out in a syringe, right? versus our spiritual DNA, our connections to others in our past life, in our oversoul with their spiritual DNA, right? And when ultimately we do bring the trauma of our ancestors, our physical ancestors, we bring trauma because that DNA, everything, it's vibration, it's energy, right? So when we're born, we come in with the DNA of our parents, right? Throw in our own spiritual DNA, we get a fun little mix, which creates us, right? Had a past life in Brazil, and Brazilian food is my favorite. See, when I went to France, I was like, oh my God, I could live here. See, I knew it was going to come in somehow to tell that story. When I had my past life regression, my very first past life regression, the very first life I landed in was in France. And I was a little kid, and it was like in the 1700s is what it felt like. And my family owned a vineyard, which 1,000% tracks as I'm sitting in my closet turned wine room. Right. So I love wine. And my favorite actually is French wine. Like drinking French wine is so natural to me. It just is just like drinking water. Like and I don't even get like crazy from it. It's just something that's just so yummy. I love it. And I love French food and I love everything about France. And I didn't realize it until after I had that past life regression. And like, I didn't want to leave France. It's almost 2 years now. We were in France and on a wine tour with a group here from Indiana. And I think also my dance studio is literally next door to someplace called the Wine Vault. It really tracks. It really does. It all makes sense. But we went on a cool tour, and we're actually going back to France this spring break to Bordeaux to do another wine and food tour. And I attribute that back to that lifetime in France where it was a good life. It was a good life. My husband and I were happy. My daughter that is estranged from me right now in this lifetime, we were very happy then. And she was in my life then as well. And so we chose a different path. The reason it was important for me to see that lifetime was not to necessarily, confirm that my French wine and food love is legit, but it had to do with the relationship and the dynamics of the relationship between my husband, myself, and my oldest child, and even our other 2 kids. So, and you do past life regression as well, correct? I do. How many lives can come through? I've had, I'm up to like, I don't know. I haven't counted actually. Maybe like 8 lives I think I've explored. You have to realize, I don't think we understand time as humans. What we see as the past may not be the past. It might just be scenarios, frequencies, radio stations, things happening concurrently. Like we could have all these lives happening at the same time, if that makes sense. So my past life in the 1700s may actually be happening right now. In one single session, I take people through 3 lives. Unless that person needs to be in a lifetime longer and there's more to deconstruct and understand, then it's usually one or 2, but usually 3 at the most, unless the client leapfrogs. If their spirit team or their higher self says, oh yeah, we got to see a few more, they'll leapfrog, but we won't go through the whole process of beginning to end, because in each of those lifetimes, you'll see, you'll go all the way through the last day and see how you died in that lifetime. Where do I go? To my website, in the link in the profile, go to my website, and and just since you're remote, you would do, if you just want to do past life, I do an offer of a past life regression that is not the healing work. So if you just want to do the past life regression, it's literally half the cost. It's half the cost of a full QHHT BQH session. Those sessions last like 3 to 5 hours. So you have a lot of my time, which is why they're pricier, but it's also healing work. There's a lot more to it. Or just if you just want to see your past lives and you want to explore those, it's literally half the cost, and it's about an 1.5-hour session. And I do those online, and I have a certification that says I can do this online. So yeah, past life is fun. I love doing past life stuff. Rose, there's my friend. Hi, Rose. How are you? Good to see you. Make sure you guys are following Rose. She's also a really great medium, and she does cards and she does all the paranormal fun stuff. Make sure you're following her too. She goes live way more than I do. Yeah, for sure. Check it out. And if you have questions, you guys can email me. You know, working is overrated, Rose. Oh, and I bet right now, retail season, you're probably crazy busy. Oh, I love that. I love that, Janelle, that you do that you're using Rose's cups. So anyway, well, I am over time, and I believe I have an appointment that I need to get to. But yeah, you guys check out my services. I'm sorry we didn't do readings today, but I think it's cool that we talked about Paris because Spirit told me to wear this specific shirt. And I was like, okay, I assumed that we'd be bringing through spirits today, but also just makes my eyes look super blue. Because normally right now, like this time of year, I pretty much wear Christmas stuff literally every day because I only got, 3 weeks to do it. So usually I'm Christmas gear, but they insisted upon the Tiffany blue vibe today, which is fine. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Roxanne. I just want to say a shout out to everyone. You're welcome, Michelle. And of course, I'm on every Thursday from 10 to noon Eastern Standard Time. And make sure you guys follow, like, engage, interact, all the good things. I do too, right? Well, of course, I'm bougie, so I like Tiffany anything. The Tiffany blue is definitely a vibe for me. And it matches it has a vibe with the crown, right? Forgot I had the crown because I took it off. It was giving me a headache. This one's heavy. This is a lot heavier than my other ones. So, oh, thanks. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. Well, I appreciate you coming in and sharing your story. And I'm glad you gave me the idea. So make sure you guys are following Heather Psychic Medium too, because she does a lot of readings online, and she's really very ethical, developed medium. So make sure you're following. You're welcome. You're welcome. And any other shout outs to anybody else in the room? Would love to get you. We do love a crown. Exactly. We do love a crown. And I've got a whole collection of them. My husband, remember that time my husband said, you don't need any more crowns. I'm like, He's always needing tax deductions. At the end of the year, he's always like, wait, you made how much money? I'm like, I'm busy. I'm a busy girl. I'm not just sitting around like watching TV all day. And so my crowns are a tax deduction. You're welcome, Mr. Carr. I'm just saying. I'm saying that not knowing full well, he doesn't watch any of my stuff in any of my lives, but So I adore you all. Thank you all for sticking around and watching and sharing the live and doing all the things. It looks like I had 0 shares. That's weird. Because I know that you guys did share. I know that TikTok lies about those things. So, all right. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Have a great weekend. And okay, cool. 26. That's not very many. Y'all were slacking. I'm just saying, y'all were slacking, but we're having a good time, so I don't care. So thank you all for joining in. Thank you for sharing your stories and help. My job as a medium is to seriously prove the continuity, or help give spirit a voice and prove the continuity of life. It's not to be the dog and pony show. It's not to be doing magic tricks and stuff like that. And I love that just when regular people out in the world, regular humans, get all these really great signs. And thank you for saying that, you guys. I really appreciate it. This has been one of my favorite lives too. It's up there with the Jamie McIntyre live. I'm not going to lie. That was probably one of my all-time favorite lives, was with Jamie McIntyre. Now, especially now that he's like blowing up and getting famous. We're going to hear, I'm telling you, he's going to be the next Ed Sheeran. By the time he is 30, he's 23 now, he's 30. By the time he's 30, if not 28, he'll be a household name here. People will know him in America. I just feel it because of his style of music. So thank you. Yeah. If you guys would like a reading, check out my stuff. I've got all kinds of things going on. Yeah, Oh, thank you, Kelly. Thank you. And thank you all in the YouTube and Facebook and Instagram for joining in and watching. I truly, truly appreciate your support. And eventually I'm going to learn how to make myself learn how to do the multi-guest, bring people up into the box on my platform. So have a fantastic day, everybody. And ask for a sign. Ask for a sign. I want you to think about, take a moment right now. Take a moment right now to think about one person you'd want to hear from that's on the other side. Okay. The first thing that pops into your head, you're going to honor that. And now I want you to go, what's the sign today? What sign? What are you going to bring to me today that will, and thank you for the gifts, Heather, that will help me know that you're around. Just like Michelle with the Cardinals. Okay. Just like the John Deere sign, the deer with Allison, and the skunk and the eagles. Like, ask what sign that loved one's going to give you, and play the game all day and see what happens. They've got nothing but time on the other side, right? So they will show up. They will show up for us. So, all right. Thank you all. I've got to get going, and I will talk to you all soon. All right. Have a good one. Bye.